So, no, but Marichi, just taking that trail of thought forward, AI. You mentioned AI, and we can see two large AI centers, two large giants emerging. You, of course, have the leader in terms of the United States of America, and you are a fellow at Stanford Center, and you've probably engaged with lots of them. But there is also a significant Chinese AI offering now on the horizon, if not already in the market. So, in that sense, there is very clearly a slightly regulatory lax mercantilist American offering on the table, and there is a Communist Party of China offering on the other side. There are two big offerings on the table. Where are people likely to go? Or could there be third, fourth, and fifth options? And how and where are they likely to emerge from?
Well, you're allowing me to mention that I thought there was little talk about Europe as a tech player. And of course, Europeans think of themselves as developing a model of regulation, much more based on fundamental rights, risk prevention, whether it is in the field of security or threats to fundamental rights and democracy. This is a dynamic field, and I would much prefer that we don't think about competing models, but that we try to think about where we can find common ground between them. Because actually, the way technology spreads around the world, even if there are huge efforts to prevent this spread, look at what the US is trying to do to prevent China from getting ahead with AI, and doesn't seem to be working very well. In fact, it may actually accelerate domestic innovations as an alternative to access to global markets. And so keeping in mind these cautions of the world's leading AI experts, that this is such fundamental technology that it will have risks for all of us if we do not put up guardrails. I would love to see more focus, even as the world is unfortunately fracturing in dangerous ways, where we can find each other to not just think about tariffs and the restriction of access to microchips and that sort of, trade approach, but also how must we restrict and control our behavior with this technology as states, as private companies, as organizations, as individuals. And I think there's room for common ground, even if the regulatory models, state-led in China, freedom for markets and CEOs in the United States, and more focus on regulatory direction in the EU to protect fundamental rights and fairness in the markets, for example, that there still is overlap. And I hope that the countries that believe in this, which we saw unprecedented stepping up of governments to govern AI, collaboration at the G20, at the UN, at the OECD, at the Council of Europe. There are so many places, multilateral fora, where there's actually helpful and collaborative thinking going on, that I think even without the United States, countries, and I hope India will be a player here too, should not be discouraged from progressing with that multilateral work to try to prevent the worst kind of behavior from having devastating impact on all of us.
Thank you. Let me now turn to the Foreign Secretary. Sir, if we were to have our own conversations, there would of course be some who believe that the direction we embarked on in 2023, when the nation promised to itself that we would be a developed country by 2047, that we were heading in a direction that was fast, not fast enough, and we would have critiques and we would have observations on what needs to be done to get there. But the fact was, there seemed to be a general agreement on the journey that we were undertaking, the optimism on getting there, and of course, appreciation of the hurdles and bottlenecks and challenges that we will need to overcome. It was largely a story of a transition from 5 trillion to 10 trillion to 15 trillion. But in many ways, if you host a Raisina dialogue and call the Europeans and Americans into the room, the world gets more complicated. In that sense, sitting today, how confident are you about that journey we started in 2023 of being a developed country by 2047? After hearing all these discussions, how do you assess India's progress to where it wants to be?
So let me begin by saying that when I was listening to Mark talk about the advances that India has made in certain fields of public health and the impact cumulatively that has on global metrics of public health. And I would say that the growth and development journey that India is embarked on through Viksit Bharat, developed India by 2047, cannot but have, because of the sheer scale at which things happen in India, cannot but have a systemic impact on global metrics as a whole. And I am convinced that in a net sense, that will be a positive impact. And therefore, the journey that India is embarked on through Viksit Bharat 2047 is something that not only all of us in India, but the world should have a stake on in the success of that. If you look at Viksit Bharat, I think it's worthwhile casting an eye on what the design of Viksit Bharat is. It's striking to see the kind of determination and application that is being deployed in making Viksit Bharat a reality. The scale is awesome. The manner in which it is being pursued is particularly striking across multiple agencies at multiple levels. The attention that it receives at the highest level of government, combined with the attention to granular detail, these are, I would say, pretty unprecedented in terms of medium to long-term horizon planning in India that any plan or program has seen. So what we are seeing today is the government, in a sense, institutionalizing ambition and aspiration at the very heart of government itself. Everybody who's today part of any department now has visibility and transparency across 25 different departments on what is likely to happen in 25 years' time. There is, in a sense, a blueprint falling into place across the domains of commerce, finance, technology, resources, the social sectors, health, education, and of course, foreign policy, security, defense, and strategic interests as well. But the really important thing is that you have the contours of strategy falling into place. And we need to, of course, from the foreign policy perspective as well, contribute to that by finding international partnerships, whether it's for trade or technology, resources, skills, etc. Now, as everybody knows, and I think this is what is at the heart of your question, all strategy has to survive first contact with reality. And if I look from my perspective, I mean, obviously there will be developments in the domestic sphere, but since I look more, spend most of my day looking at the international plane, what I see is that the trends that were already underway in 2023 have not gone away. In certain senses, they have sharpened. Conflict in different parts of the world is still with us. The contestation over technology has only become sharper. The crisis in terms of climate or growth or development has become perhaps even more acute, and especially in countries of the global south. which, I'm sure their voices have been heard here, would essentially be saying to the global north that, can we get beyond the conflict, please? And start paying attention to the problems of the vast majority of humanity. But I think in that process, what we have to do and what I think we benefit from, what gives us inspiration, is that we have lots of positives in handling these challenges, even though they persist today. Those positives are an inspiring leadership, a determination, as I said, to reach these goals and targets, and very well laid out roadmaps to go towards that. From the foreign policy perspective, we continue to engage in conversations and engagements with partners around the world. I would like to think that we bring value to all of the forums that we are part of. We are by no means freeloaders on the international system. I would be the first to confess that we don't have the deepest pockets, but we do bring a lot of creativity and innovation to the table when it comes to development partnerships, especially with countries in our neighborhood and countries of the global south, whether it's in terms of capacity building or infrastructure creation, things like the digital partnership, digital infrastructure, and based on the India Stack and many others. So while the challenges will be there and they will change, and everything else that is there out on the international sphere is a moving target in many ways, I think given the determination, the leadership, the vision that is at the heart of Viksit Bharat, we will, I'm reasonably confident that we have it in us to handle these challenges en route to Viksit Bharat 2047.
Sir, with your permission, can I ask you a tough question?
The only tough questions. What is an easy question?
So,